Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine. Continue with reading Psalm 81. I'm going to read it. Psalm 81. For the director of music, according to Gittith of Asaph. Sing for joy to God our strength. Shout loud to the God of Jacob. Begin the music. Strike the tambourine. Play the melodious harp and lyre. Sound the ram's horn at the new moon, and when the moon is full on the day of our feast. This is the decree of Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob. He established it as a statute of Joseph when he went out against Egypt, where we heard a language we did not understand. He says, I removed the burden from their shoulders. Their hands were set free from the basket. In your distress you called, and I rescued you. I answered you out of the thundercloud. I tested you at the waters of Meribah. Hear, O my people, and I will warn you. If you would but listen to me, O Israel, you shall have no foreign god among you. You shall not bow down to an alien god. I am the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt. Open wide your mouth, and I will fill it. But my people would not listen to me. Israel would not submit to me. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts, to follow their own devices. If my people would but listen to me, if Israel would follow my ways, how quickly would I subdue their enemies and turn my hand against their foes. Those who hate the Lord would cringe before him, and their punishment would last forever. But you would be fed with the finest of wheat. With honey from the rock I would satisfy you. So this is the Psalm 81. It is for the director of music according to Gittith of Asaph. Gittith probably is a style of music. It's a formatted style of music probably. What is the tone? The tone is in the tone of God. Actually, a lot of quotation marks. To rebuke Israel. So this is the authority to count the Israel people of Jacob. They turn away from God. Sing for joy to God of strength. Shout aloud to the God of Jacob. Begin the music. Strike the tambourine. Play the melodious harp and the lyre. So this is about calling loud for the people of Jacob and Joseph. Sing and with the drums and also playing harp to praise the God. Sound the ram's horn at the new moon, and when the moon is full, on the day of our feast. This is a decree of for Israel, ordinance of the God of Jacob. He established it as a statute for Joseph, and when he went out against Egypt, where we heard language we did not understand. So this is about the history again. At the beginning of the month until the middle of the month, at the beginning of the month means the new moon, and also at the middle of the month when the moon was full to feast. So this is sing loud, calling people, because this is a decree for Israel, ordinance of Jacob, God of Jacob, and a statute for Joseph. And when he led the people out of Egypt, and her language we did not understand, or calling the voice we do not know, we hadn't know. So this is about still continue to call, to celebrate they have this God and the miraculous deed God has done from Jacob to Joseph. He says, and then start from here is quoted. I removed the burden from their shoulders. Their hands were set free from the basket. In your distress you called, and I rescued you. I answered you out of the thunderous cloud. I tested you at the water of Meribah. So this is the voice from God. I saved you, I answered you, basically saying, and I rescued you when you were in distress. Hear, O my people, and I will warn you, if you would but listen to me, O Israel, you shall have no foreign god among you. You shall not bow down to an alien god, which means the faith and the fidelity between the God and Israel. You cannot worship any idols. I am the Lord your God who brought you up out of Egypt. Open wide your mouth and I will fill it. So I am the one who led you out from Egypt. And even though you were wandering in the desert for 40 years, but I still fed you, right? Open your mouth, I will fill you. But my people would not listen to me. Israel would not submit to me. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts to follow their own devices. But even though I'm calling so loud, I have done those miraculous deeds, but the people would not listen to me. They would not submit to me. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts and follow their own devices. So I just let go, let them follow their own heart, stubborn and to follow their own devices. If my people would but listen to me, if Israel would follow my ways, how quickly would I subdue their enemies, turn my hand against their foes. So if they listen to me, then I will be with them to defeat their enemies. And those who hate the Lord would cringe before him, and their punishment would last forever. So those enemies who hate God will be crumpled, and their punishment will last forever. But you would be fed with the finest of wheat and honey from the rock. I would satisfy you. So if you, the people from Israel, have listened to me, and I will not only destroy their enemies, also people of Israel will be fed with the finest of wheat and honey from the rock. I would satisfy you. So I can bring the honey from the rock to feed you. And the end of the quotation mark. So this is Psalm 81. A very, I think the striking words here is so I gave them over to their stubborn hearts and to follow their own devices. So this is the kind of not new. We all have those kind of stubborn heart. Sometimes confused, do not know what voice to follow, what path to go. So this is not just occurred to each of us since the ancient times, since the God established the relationship with Israel, with Jacob. So we all have those kind of moments. So this is the Psalm 81. From this Psalm 81, what do we see? We see the graciousness of their God, according to the God, what their God said, quoted, what he has done, what he could have done, what the people have done to against him, leading the consequences. So if they follow what God said, they probably, their enemy will be destroyed, and they will not wandering, and they will be celebrating all the time. They will be fed with finest of wheat and also the honey from the rock. So this is the Psalm 81, and I hope you will read by yourself and interpret in your own way. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.